You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. You, the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. That we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
"99% of the failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses." George Washington Carver. I really like this quote because ultimately what it says is that if you make an excuse, then there's no possible way that you can succeed at anything you do. So when it comes down to it, make sure that you go out there, you give it your all, and see what happens, and walk away happy that at the very least you tried. And if something more came from it, then be that much more excited.
A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Marcus Garvey. And for me, I think this holiday is about acknowledging that for too long, Black history was not taught the way that it should be, or even at all. And we have to instead be celebrating the contributions of Black Americans in so many parts of American life, in the arts, in music, in sciences, agriculture, telecommunications, computing, even space exploration. And we need to go beyond the platitudes of Dr. King or picking out a single example from Rosa Parks' amazingly long life fighting for rights. And instead, we need to be seeing how the lived experiences of Black Americans has actually forced us to do the work as a nation, to make real the promises that all people are born free and equal. And that with these roots, we can help make the tree of America even stronger.
Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." I was a terrible, terrible student. I could not get my act together. But I do remember one of my teachers in high school who taught me that I mattered, that I still have a voice that counted, and that I'm a human being that deserves to be here. I couldn't tell you what that person taught me. I don't know what subject they even taught. I don't know what skills I walked away with from that class. But I do remember how that teacher helped me and made me feel like I was a person and that I could make a difference in the world, even if I wasn't the best student. So I also wonder how many people appreciate how Maya Angelou made them feel. What an influential and educated and classy lady.
Satchel Paige was a baseball player. He was actually a pitcher in the Negro Leagues, and he never got the opportunity to play in Major League Baseball. But here's his quote: "Never let your head hang down, never give up and sit down and grieve. Find another way. And don't pray when it rains if you don't pray when the sun shines." And guys, what that means to me is basically, listen, we know sports is great for a lot of things, but one of the things it's great for is building resiliency, right? Because in sport, you're going to fail. In exercise, it's going to be hard. So never give up and sit down and be like, I can't do this anymore. No, sports and exercise, what a great place to build resiliency, right? Hey, this is hard. This is tough. That's okay. Keep going. Keep working through it. And that's why that quote is so important to me.
Oh, wow. I really lucked out and got a really cool quote. Samuel L. Jackson. Yes. Take a stand for what's right. Raise a ruckus and make change. You may not always be popular, but you'll be part of something larger and bigger and greater than yourself. Besides, making history is cool, extremely cool. So the way that I look at this quote is kind of the idea of don't ever be quiet about something that bothers you. Every now and again, raise a little hell. Yeah, I said a swear word. Especially if you know that what you're fighting for is right and just. People may not necessarily like it at the time, but if your voice makes even the slightest change, then it is well worth it. And you have to take your small view of your life and project it onto a much larger view of the bigger world around you. And yeah, making history is cool, but teaching history is like way cool. Trust me, I know.
The activist, statesman, all-around cool person, John Lewis, once said, "When people tell me nothing has changed, I say, come walk in my shoes and I'll show you change." I love this quote. I love the thinking. I love the idea. It's kind of two-pronged. One meaning, man, try experiencing the world from my perspective before you start complaining that nothing has changed, because this is a man who had seen some pretty heinous things in his time. And then the other part of that quote is he worked so diligently, so earnestly to create change, and he did see it incrementally, but he never gave up. He just kept pushing harder and harder and harder till he saw ever greater degrees of the kind of change he wanted to see in his society. And we're not there yet, but man, if you think that things have not changed, stop and take a look around. John Lewis would say, we're making progress. We got to keep pushing.
Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. And that quote is by Madame C.J. Walker. And that quote resonates with me because I believe that we have opportunities presented to us every single day, and that we need to be able to kind of grab those opportunities and go for them. I, for one, am a definite go-getter, and if I want something done, generally I don't wait for it to get done. I will do it myself or use the resources and friends around me to help me get it done. So, if you really want to get something done, and you have a dream or an aspiration and you're inspired, you should just go for it.
I have a quote from Jesse Owens that says, find the good. It's all around you. Find it, showcase it, and you'll start believing in it. That quote specifically resonates with me because if anybody that really knows the soulful heart part of me, I'm about belief in choice. That we choose to be either good in this world or not. We choose to sometimes go on that dark rabbit hole of cynicism and negativity, or we choose to see good and light in this world. And guys, when we do that, when we start to recognize some of the goodness that's happening, two great things happen. We see the goodness of who we are and the value of who you are as a human being. And then the powerful things is we start to recognize the goodness and the full diversity of people around us. The good news is when we start finding it, looking for it, believing in it, showcasing it, living it out, it truly becomes something that can change the world.
I had an interview scheduled at a very prominent hotel. I came in with my raincoat and a couple of other things, and I went to the check booth and I simply was going to ask her where I could find this person that I was to be interviewed with. She took one look at me and she said, "Oh, we don't take those here. You have to go around the back." So I looked at her and I smiled. And I said, "Excuse me, but I was not going to ask you to take my coat and check it, which is your job. I simply was going to ask you for direction. But I will take this moment to let you know, just in case you don't, that every one of us that look like me are not all in a position of servitude. I don't look for anything or ask for anything other than to be treated like a human being. That's all."
A different race doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the same rights as everyone else in this world. Just because you have those rights means that you're human.
To be treated like a human being means to be treated with kindness and respect and have the same rights as everybody else that nobody can take away from you. I believe that we should all be treated equally and with kindness and love.
To be treated like a human means that you treat others how you want to be treated. You treat them with kindness and respect, and you consider their situation.
What does it mean to be treated like a human being? To me, being treated like a human being means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect from one another. And you also have to treat others the way you want to be treated. You can't treat certain people with certain respect, and you can't treat certain people with a certain amount of respect. You have to treat everyone the way you would like to be treated.
Tell me refresh.
To be treated like a human being means to be treated with kindness, to feel worthy of anything, and to have rights that no one can take away.
To be treated like a human being to me means to be treated like everyone else. It means to be treated equally. I think everybody should be treated the same and at the same level of respect. Nobody should have more power over another, and each should be right there in the middle.
Treated like a human being to me means to have respect towards everybody, no matter the color of their skin or their beliefs.
To be human is to have the same body. Skin color doesn't matter. You could be copper, white, or black. Everyone deserves to be treated equally, and I don't know why people mistreat others, especially those who are black. Honestly, I don't think that's right, and I don't care what your skin color is. I think everyone that has a value, and that value is something that you all have and no one can take away from you.
Treated like human means to be treated equal to one another. It means that just because your skin tone is different, that doesn't mean that you get paid less or have less of a chance of being successful. We should all have the same opportunity of being successful.
I think being treated equally means not treating anybody different based on the color of their skin.
To be treated like a human being means you're allowed to make mistakes. It's okay to be upset. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to cry and be sad, as long as you know you're worth it in the end.
To be treated like a human being, to me, means that we're all equal. We all have a chance at life, an equal chance, and no one is put into servitude for their skin color, or their race, or their religion, or anything.
To me, being treated like a human being means to be treated like you exist, or to be treated like you're important.
By her saying she wants to be treated like a human is saying she wants to be treated like everyone else.
To be human, that means you have the same rights no matter your gender, your race, your sexuality, or your ethnicity that everybody else does, and you should be respected the same.
To be treated like a human being means that you are what you are and that you're not what people assume to be. And you don't, if someone assumes you to be something, don't just pick on that role. It's for you to be you and no one else to, and someone to not say like, well, you should be this, so you're this. No, it's for you to be you and no one else to say no to that.
To be human to me means that we should all be treated equally no matter our skin color or race or anything. We should all be treated equally.
To be treated like a human being, we all need to be respectful no matter what race.
To be treated like a human means that all people are equal, no matter your race, your hair color, your eye color, or anything. Everyone should be treated equally, with the same amount of respect and the same amount of privilege.
To be treated like a human means to be treated fairly, and to be treated equally, and be protected by the law equally as much as anybody else, and have justice and equal opportunity.
To be treated like a human being means to be shown respect like you are to others.
I think that being treated like a human means to treat people how you want to be treated, or to treat them with like respect and stuff like that, even if you don't respect them.